Remember all those headlines about EVs being the hottest thing since sliced bread? Yeah, seems the bread's a little staple now. Sales are slowing down faster than a Tesla on a downhill slope, and dealerships are overflowing with unsold EVs. So what went wrong on the road to electric utopia? The once blazing electric vehicle market is facing a potential slowdown, sending chills down the spines of manufacturers and investors alike. While headlines a year ago proclaimed a future dominated by silent, zero-emission vehicles, analysts are now predicting a significant price correction, with estimates suggesting a drop of nearly 50% in some segments. This looming crash marks a sharp turn for an industry that promised a transportation revolution, and the reasons behind it are multifaceted. Sales figures paint a concerning picture. Companies like Ford, GM, and Tesla have spent billions making EVs, but guess what? Nobody's buying them. In the United States, the sale rate for EVs has slowed down, taking roughly twice as long to sell an EV now as it did in the previous November. In the United States, which represents a major EV market, the once rapid adoption rate has slowed down dramatically. Data from Kelley Blue Book shows that the average time it takes to sell a new EV has doubled compared to November 2022. This indicates a significant disconnect between the initial hype surrounding EVs and the reality faced by consumers. Now you might be wondering why? Well, the reasons are more complicated than you might think. Alright, let's talk about the elephant in the room: price hikes. Now, sure, we've all heard about range anxiety and the need for some more charging stations, but there's something much deeper going on here. It's like China is playing a game of chess with the American EV market, and trust me, nobody saw this move coming. Picture this: EVs sitting in dealership lots for 90 to 100 days, while internal combustion engine vehicles breeze out of there in just 52 days on average. That's a pretty stark contrast, don't you think? It's like EVs are the unpopular kid at school, sitting alone in the cafeteria while everyone else is having a blast. But why? Well, it all comes down to the almighty dollar. EVs tend to be pricier than their gasoline counterparts, and that's a tough pill to swallow for a lot of folks. The luxury EV sector might not be feeling the pinch as much thanks to their well-heeled clientele, but for the average Joe, it's a different story. Even Tesla, the golden child of the EV world, is feeling the heat. Despite being the only US car maker with a profitable EV business, they've had to make some serious price cuts just to keep their sales numbers up. I'm talking cuts as steep as 30% this year alone. It's like watching your favorite superhero stumble in the face of adversity. But here's the thing: price cuts can only go so far. Eventually something's gotta give, and if EVs keep hemorrhaging money like this, well, let's just say that it's not gonna end well for anyone involved. So what's the solution? How do we get EVs back on track and into the hearts and minds of consumers? That's the million-dollar question, my friends. And if we don't figure it out soon, well, let's just hope that we're not too late for the party. So what's the fallout for automakers in all of this? Well, let me tell you, it's not a pretty picture. Major automakers are feeling the pinch big time. They're slamming on the brakes, putting expansion plans on hold as they try to navigate this turbulent environment. Let's take a closer look at the domino effect, alright? Tesla, the industry's trailblazer, is rethinking its ambitious growth strategy. Elon Musk, the company's ever-quotable CEO, hinted at postponing a mammoth $1 billion factory in Mexico. This isn't exactly a vote of confidence in the immediate future of EVs. GM, another major player, is also hitting the brakes on its electric pickup truck production plans. Their shiny new electric truck, originally slated to roll off the assembly line next year, has been pushed back to late 2025. That's a significant delay, suggesting GM is reevaluating its production timeline in light of the market slowdown. Ford isn't escaping the slowdown unscathed either. They've had to tap on the brakes for their $15 billion EV investment plan, scaling back a significant chunk of those funds. These strategic pullbacks are more than just whispers in the boardroom. They're reflected in the red ink on the company's financial statements. Ford's electric vehicle unit, aptly named Model E, is hemorrhaging money. They reported a staggering $1.3 billion operating loss in the last quarter alone, and the future doesn't look much brighter. Ford expects a whopping $4.5 billion loss on EVs this year, a hefty price tag for a technology they're still trying to establish. The situation is so dire that Ford is currently selling some EVs at a loss of nearly $6,000 a vehicle. This unsustainable business model is further highlighted by the recent decision to halt production of the F-150 Lightning, their flagship electric truck. This move sent shockwaves through the industry, especially considering Ford had just retooled their Kentucky plant to specifically boost production of this vehicle. The plant was humming along at full capacity until recently, highlighting the sudden shift in the market sentiment. The F-150 Lightning, once a symbol of Ford's electric future, now sits idle. So what's the real reason American automakers are struggling to sell EVs? Buckle up, because the answer isn't as simple as range anxiety or a lack of charging stations. There's a darker truth lurking in the shadows, and it has a single word name: China. China currently controls a staggering 80% of the global EV battery supply. Think of it like having a single company own every gas station in the country. They hold immense power over the entire EV market. This dominance gives China significant leverage, and they're not afraid to use it. Here's how this Chinese control translates into trouble for American car companies, and ultimately for your wallet. Remember the great chip shortage of 2021? The one that sent the tech world into a frenzy and left car dealerships looking like car graveyards? Well, many experts believe China played a significant role in orchestrating this shortage. It wasn't just about a global supply chain hiccup. It was a strategic move to flex their muscles in the tech industry. This episode served as a wake-up call for American car makers. Suddenly, the dream of self-sufficiency in EV production seemed a lot further away. Companies scrambled to secure reliable battery supplies. And guess who was there with their arms wide open? And a whole lot of lithium? China. Driven by the urgency of the chip shortage and the allure of a seemingly endless supply, car makers poured billions of dollars into Chinese EV battery supplies. Fast forward to today, and the situation is taking a dramatic turn. Those shiny new EVs built with Chinese-made batteries are languishing on dealership lots. Why the sudden shift? There are a few key factors at play. One major concern is the high cost of EVs, largely driven by the expensive battery packs. Remember, China controls the battery supply chain, so they have a big say in how much these components cost. Another factor is the ongoing range anxiety. While battery technology has improved, many consumers are still hesitant to commit to an EV with a perceived limited driving range. Finally, the lack of widespread charging infrastructure remains a significant hurdle for long-distance travel. The result? A perfect storm of high prices, range anxiety, and charging infrastructure woes has led to a dramatic slowdown in EV sales. Faced with a saturated market and dwindling consumer interest, car companies are now resorting to dramatic measures. Price cuts as steep as 30% are becoming commonplace, a desperate attempt to clear out inventory. The situation highlights the dangers of relying on a single source for such a critical component. The American EV industry is now learning a harsh lesson about the importance of diversification and self-sufficiency. The good news? There's a growing movement towards developing a domestic battery supply chain in the US. This, coupled with advancements in battery technology and infrastructure development, could be the key to unlocking the true potential of the EV market. The future of American EVs remains to be seen, but one thing is clear: reducing dependence on China and addressing consumer concerns are paramount to achieving a sustainable and successful electric vehicle revolution. So what's the bottom line here? Well, if you're thinking about buying an EV, it might be a good idea to wait. Analysts are advising against immediate car purchases, suggesting that prices are likely to fall further in the coming months. Instead, you might want to consider hybrids or pure IC vehicles for now. Trust me, you could save tens of thousands of dollars by waiting. It's a tough call, I know, but in the long run, it could save you a bundle. Remember, the road ahead for EV manufacturers is fraught with challenges. They need to balance affordability with profitability, and as they adjust their strategies to the changing market conditions, the evolution of the EV industry will likely be shaped by economic factors as much as by technological innovations. So, before you sign on the dotted line, take a step back, weigh your options, and remember, patience pays off. So, do you think EVs will become affordable anytime soon? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And don't forget to check out my latest video for more shocking news that could rock the entire EV industry. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.